Hey everyone, today I'm going to show you how to make an updated potion system. Now some of you may know a while ago we did a video on making a potion system in Roblox where you can basically spend Robux to get potions which give you say a temporary 2 times wins, 2 times points or whatever. Now this will be an updated video. We're going to cover a more advanced data store, covering multiple potions because I know some people had problems when creating more than one potion, so we're going to try cover all of that today. So this might be a very long video, so just a warning. Okay, so to get started, what I've already got under starter GUI, I have a screen GUI or a text button with a script which basically adds 1 point every time I click it. I don't have any Leaderstats yet, but we will make that, and once we've made it, every time I click this button it'll give me a point. This is just for tutorial purposes, so I have a way of increasing points. I'm also going to make a button to increase cash as well, because I want to make 2 potions today. So I'm going to make a +1 point and a +1 cash. +1, this will be cash, and that one's point. And this will be .cash.value, incrementing by 1. Okay, now I'm not going to show you how to make those, of course, because I assume everyone has their own way of incrementing their values that we're going to create. But let's get straight into it. So to get started, under server script service, we want to add a script which we will rename to, we'll call it Leaderstats, but we will have the data store in here as well. Now for now, what we're going to do is call a function every time a player joins the game. To do this, we say game.players.playerAdded::connect function, and we pass in the player. Now I'm missing my end. There we go. Now I am going to assume you know some of this stuff as we go through, and I'm not going to explain everything, or we're going to be here for hours. As I said, this will be a bit more of an advanced video, so I'm not going to explain too much in too much detail. Anyway, next what we're going to say is player.characterAdded::wait. So we're waiting until the player has a character. And then we'll create the leader stats. So local leader stats equals instance.new, and we want to create a new folder instance inside of the player. Of course, the name of the leader stats will just be leader stats, and that's all we need there. Now let's create our points and cash. So local points equals instance.new. This will be an int value inside of the leader stats, and points.name will just be points, and I'm going to set the default value to 0. Next we'll also say we'll get a local cache equals instance.new, and then this will also be an int value inside of the leader stats, and cache.name will be cache, and the default value I'm going to set to 0. This is very standard, very standard leader stat script here. So now we can close that, and if we hit test and play, you'll see that when we load in, we've now got points and cash. We click to increment our points, we do that. We click to increment our cash, and we can do that. We do now, however, need to make the GUI. So under starter GUI, we're going to add in a screen GUI, which I'm going to rename to potion GUI, and in here we're going to add in a scrolling frame. Actually no, we're going to add in a normal frame first, with a size of, let's just go 0.20, 0.20, and then we can scale it like so. Let's put the position at 0, 0, 0, 0, and then we can move it around freely. So how big do we want this to be? Probably about there. So about there will do. And this frame I'm going to rename to background, and I'm just going to change the colour, play around, get the colours I want until I'm happy with everything. I'm going to add in a UI corner of maybe 0.10, not even that, 0.050 maybe. And in this background we're going to add in a text label which will have size 0.10. Okay, let's maybe make that 0.150 with a background transparency of 1. I'm going to scale the text, make the text white, maybe make it bold, and we'll say potion shop. Okay, I will actually make that 0.1 on the Y, and I'm going to rename this text label to header or something like that. Now we're going to add a scrolling frame into our background, which this will have the size 1010. And then what we can do is just drag it down from the top until it kind of clips onto this potion shop header here. And we'll make the background transparency 1. What I'll do then is make the scroll bar image color different color, maybe like a white. And then I'm also going to make the canvas size 0000, just so it disappears basically. And then what we will do is under scrolling direction, we're going to change that to Y because we're only going to be scrolling downwards. Scrolling enabled on, and we also want to put automatic canvas size onto Y. Now under this scrolling frame, we're going to add in a text. We're going to add another frame, which will be we'll call this frame item. This will be a template item here, and this item we're going to give it a size of maybe 10.20. Okay, now I'm just going to bring this in on the sides a bit. You just want to design this how you want it to look, really. So about that, maybe in a bit more, because you got to bear in mind you have got a scroll bar that will be on the side. We'll make this a slightly darker blue. Give this a UI corner as well, just making the GUI look however you want it to look, really. We will actually add a UI list layout into this scrolling frame, which will then set the padding to be 0.10 or something like that. We'll make the field direction vertical, horizontal alignment center, layout order, and we'll start from the top. And now what you'll see is as we duplicate this item and get more, we get a scrolling frame where we can now scroll. Anyway, we only want one item at the minute, so we can delete these others. Now in this item, we're going to have a couple of things. First of all, we're going to have an image label, which will be our icon. So if you have an icon for the potion, you can put it in this image label. Make the size 0.10, and then we'll just size it up. So I'll make mine maybe about 66 by 66. So I might actually have to take out the square to do this. There we go, 66 by 66, and whack it in there. I will then add a UI corner, and that looks good. I might make the radius 0.10, maybe 0.1, maybe 0.20, 0.15 maybe, just playing around a bit till it looks good. 0.150, and this icon you can put in an image there if you would like. I will then add in another text label into this item, which will be name, and this text label, the size will be 100.10-ish. Okay, not 0.10, we're going to drag that out, maybe 0.450, and we just want to drag it until it touches this image, the icon here. I'll make the background transparency 1, the text color to be white, scale it up, make it bold, and we'll give this the name of 2x, this will be 2x points, 2 times points. Now we'll duplicate this name and rename this second one to price, drag it down beneath the name, which means we can actually expand this name to be a bit bigger. We'll drag this 2 times price in a bit to maybe 240 by 29. Of course this will be different for everyone depending on how you design it. I'm going to make this say cost 50 Robux. Or something like that. It doesn't really matter how, well, it's up to you, the prices you use. Next I'm going to add in a text button, and this button we're going to give a size 1010 just so it fills the whole thing, and then we can scale it in. So I want it to be clipping the 2 times points and also clipping the cost of 50 Robux, like that. Now this button I'm also going to give a UI corner, maybe 0.10 this one, and I'll make it maybe green, and I'll make this text say purchase. Okay, and that is this potion there. So that's the 2 times points. Next, now that we've got this item here, we can rename this from item to 2x, we'll call this points potion. Points potion. We can now duplicate this and we can call this one cash potion. This cash potion, it'll be the exact same, we're just going to change the name to 2x cash, and the price, I might make this 75 Robux or something. And now we can close that. Now let's close the entire scrolling frame, and we want to, on the background, add in a text button, which we'll call this close button. We'll give this a size of 0.20, 0.20. Whack this in the top corner, maybe make it a square. I might make this 55 by 55, and just whack it in the corner as like an X. Basically, we'll make the text a massive X, make it bold, maybe make it white, and then we'll make the background sort of a pinky red. Scale this text up, of course, and we'll add a UI corner with radius 0.10, maybe 0.20, like so. And that's the close button. We then need to add a local script into here. And in this local script, we need to say local close button equals script.parent, and then local background equals close button dot parent. Next, to say close button dot mouse button one click colon connect function, and then in here we'll say background dot visible equals false. Now let's make a button to make it visible, so we'll add in a text button into the Potion GUI. We'll make this maybe 0.20, 0.20. Drag this to the side. I'm definitely going to make this smaller, maybe like that. Once again, just playing around with things till they are how we want them. Now I'm going to add a local script into this text button, which will say a pretty same thing. So a local button equals script.parent, local background equals button dot parent dot background, button dot mouse button one click colon connect function, and then in this function we will say background dot visible equals true. And now we can close that, and this text button will be the open button. Now let's go to this background and make its visibility turn visible off and hit play, just so we can now test the whole GUI. We can hit potions and it comes up, and we can close it. We can click these purchase buttons, they don't do anything yet, but we can open and close the potion shop, which is what is important. Okay, for this next part we need to create two dev products, one for 2 times points, one's for 2 times cash, or however many potions you have. So to do that, you want to go into your creator dashboard on Roblox's main page. So if you go to roblox.com, then hit the create button at the top, you'll send you to the dashboard. Then you find your game, just click on it, and you'll come to this overview screen. We basically want to go down to associated items, click on developer products, and I already have a few here from previous videos and things like that, so just ignore all of these. You're going to hit create a developer product, and we're going to give it a name. So in my case it'll be 2x points. You can give it a description, but the price is 50 Robux. I'm setting it. And you can also give it an image, but you don't have to. And then we hit create developer product, and under this developer product we just made 2x points, you'll see there is an ID here. It's called an ID. So what we have to do is copy this ID. We're not going to do it just yet, but when you do make this ID, you put it in the script, and you reference the ID to basically purchase the item. Now let's create another developer product, 2x cash, and I think I set that one to 75. So let's copy our 2x points. So once you've copied this ID here, if you can't copy it like this, if you click on the if you actually click on the product, you'll see up in your URL you'll have a you'll have two like strings of numbers. The first load of numbers is your experience ID, the second is, or place ID, sorry, and the second is the developer product ID. So you want to copy the second string of numbers, but it is also just below the name if you need it. Okay, so once we've copied that, we're going to go into our background, into our scrolling frame, under the points potion. Under this text button, we're going to add a local script, which this text button is basically our purchase button. And this local script, we need to say local player equals game.players.localPlayer, so we can get the player. Local marketplace service equals game::get service marketplace service, and local product ID, which will be equal to the ID we've just copied. Next we say script.parent dot mouse button one click colon connect function. In here we need to prompt the purchase, so we say marketplace service colon prompt product purchase, and we pass in the player and the product ID. Now we can close this local script, and under server script service we want to add another script which we will rename to game products or dev products. We'll call these dev products, we'll call that script, and in here we need to say local marketplace service equals game colon get service and then marketplace service, and then we'll also say local players equals game colon get service players. Now we'll say marketplace service dot process receipt equals function receipt info we're passing in. Now in here we'll say local player equals players colon get player from by user ID, sorry, and we want the receipt info dot player ID spelled exactly like this. Make sure all your capitalization is correct. Next we'll say if receipt info dot product ID, once again spelled exactly like that, capitalized like that as well, equals, and then we're going to paste our ID back in. And in fact it will be easier to say local points ID equals, and then we'll get a local cache ID as well, which for now we'll just set equal to a few zeros. So we'll say if receipt info dot product ID equals points ID, then just because we know this is the points, then we want to give the player points. Now in here I'm just going to leave a little comment saying code here, because we will write this code in a minute. After this if statement we want to return enum dot product purchase decision dot purchase granted, because that we're returning that the purchase has been granted. We also, before this if receipt info, we want to say if not player then, so if there isn't a player then we will return enum dot product purchase decision dot not processed yet. Anyway, we will now leave this script and we'll come back to that in a bit, because we do now need to make the potion frame. So what we're going to, where we've got our potion GUI, we're going to add another screen GUI, which will be, in fact we can do it within the potion GUI. We will add another frame. So let's close the background frame for now. This other frame we will call potion, and we'll set the size to 0.50, 0.50, and we want to drag this to the bottom right corner. And we want it to be no taller really than these GUIs here. Basically this is where our potions are going to show up. So I'm going to have it like this, just covering this bottom corner and like a rectangular shape. And this is where all our potions that we have currently active will show up. So of course if you've got loads of potions you're going to want this longer. Because I've only got 2 potions I only really need about this much room. But if you've got like 10 potions, you know, you're going to want a lot more room. So unless you stack them and make them like a grid, then you can make it taller. It doesn't matter how you do it, or you don't need to do this at all. You could do this some other way, I don't know. But this is how I'm going to do it. So when they buy a potion, it will show down here that they have it, and it will give the timer on how long's left of the potion. So I only need it about this big here, and I'll put it down there like that. I'll then make the background transparency 1, and we are going to add in another frame, and this frame will be points potion. In fact, I am going to make this background transparency 0 just so I can see what I'm doing. So my points potion is going to be about there. Okay, now I'll make it 1 again. Now we are going to add in a UI. We're going to add a UI grid layout into this potion view. I'm going to put padding as 0.10, 0.10. So now if we make another one, you see it kind of pads it. I'll make the cell size 0.10, 0.10, and we'll just adjust from there. And once you've kind of got your 2 frames, so I'm actually going to now delete the other one. Once you've played around with your cell size, so I've got my cell padding 0.10, 0.10, and my cell size is 0.30, 0.690, and that gives me a size of 97 by 97. Now this is quite confusing trying to translate this. you can get a plugin to do this for you, but I'm just playing around with numbers. This will be different for everyone. Now, under this points potion, we're going to add in an image label of size 1010. We're also going to add in a text label, which will be called timer. This image label will be icon. This timer will have size 0.50, 0.10, whatever, and we can then just go and resize it. And I'm going to place this underneath the timer, like that. Perfect. And now this timer here, I'm going to give this a transparency of 1 probably. Scale this up, make it white with a text stroke, black text stroke, and then probably just make this text say timer or something. And just make it look however you want. And now if we duplicate this points potion, we can then get a cash potion. And you can fit however many you want. I can duplicate it again and again. And as I say, you can get as many as you want. I will make the horizontal alignment center. And there we go. That's the potions down there. So now we won't actually code the timer yet. But what we can do is grab the points and the cash potion and put them into replicated storage. Okay, now things are going to get a bit complicated here because we've not actually made any of this yet. But we are going to code it now. So what we need to do is once we're in this code here, if the product ID matches the ID of the points product, we need to check to see if the coins boost is active, and if it's not, then we are going to give them the potion GUI, put it in their potion view, and set it to active, and then give them the time as well that it's active for. Now this is where it starts to get a bit more complicated. So we need to say if player dot potions. Now I know we haven't made any of this yet, just bear with me. And this will be points boost active question mark dot value equals false. Then we'll say local potion GUI equals, and before we finish this, back up where we're getting the services, we need to say local replicated storage equals game :get service replicated storage. Then say this local potion GUI equals replicated storage dot cache potion. In fact, we'll do : find first child cache potion, and then we're going to : clone it. So what this is doing is basically cloning the cache potion we have in replicated storage, and with what we can then do is say potion GUI dot parent. So the clone we're going to set to be equal to the parent of which needs to be inside of the player's potion view. So we need to say equals player dot and then player GUI : find first child potion GUI dot, and then we want to put it inside of the potion view dot potion view. Then once we've done this, we need to say player dot potions coins points boost active question mark dot value will set then to be true. And then after the first end, you'll see we've got end return end. So after this first end, we'll say player dot potions coins boost time, and this time will be in seconds, dot value will plus equal 15 multiplied by 60. So 15 times 60, that's 15 minutes. And basically each time they buy it, it'll give them 15 minutes. So I'll put a comment here, 15 minutes of potion time. And then we've got an end, a return, and an end. Now that we've done this, what we can do is under the Leaderstats script, let's drop down and say while wait and then one do if player dot potions points boost active question mark dot value equals true, then and also player dot potions points boost time dot value minus equals 1, and this will remove 1 second every single second. And sorry, this shouldn't be coins down here, this should be points. It's my fault. Back in the dev product script. Okay, now before we do the timer script, we're going to do the exact same for the the cache boost. So to do the cache boost, once again we'll have to copy our 2x cache ID. And back in our dev products, our cache ID will be this. And before we go and code all that, I want to go under our cache potion. And first of all, I'm going to, not our cache potion, sorry, our background of the potion GUI. And I'm going to duplicate that text button, local script, the local script in the text button, and put it in the cache button local script, cache potion, sorry. And now in here, we'll just change the product ID to be that new ID. Now, where we've got this if, what we want to do is basically copy all of this and just paste it in again, and this will be else if. So now we've got if this, else if receipt info.product ID equals cache ID, then if player.potions cache boost active, and then we'll say blah 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 dot cache potion. Oh, this should be points potion, not cache potion. Potion GUI, that all looks good to me. Player.potions cache boost active. Then we want cache boost time. Unindent all of this because it's all indented when it doesn't need to be, and that looks good to me. Now I know this looks pretty complicated, it kind of is, but that's now having 2 potions. So now let's close that and go back into our Leaderstats. Now where we will add, we'll copy this entire if statement and add another one, if cache boost active and if cache boost time. Now we can close the Leaderstats and let's do the timer. Okay, so to do the timer, what we're going to do is under the cache potion, under the timer, we're going to add a local script. This is the cache potion we're doing first. And in this local script, we're going to say function convert to hours, minutes, seconds, and we're going to pass in the seconds. And in here, we're going to return string.format. And now we're going to do a string. You have to do this exactly how I do it. Percentage 02 I colon percentage 02 I colon percentage 02 I. Now this formats it as hours, minutes, seconds, like so. And now put a comma, and you want to pass in seconds divided by 60 squared, or the same as 60 times 60, which is 3,600, which is basically the number of hours. And you're going to pass in seconds divided by 60 mod 60, which is the minutes, and then you're going to pass in seconds mod 60. So now you've got hours, minutes, seconds in whole numbers as well. And then what you can do is say while wait 1 do timer equals convert to HMS game.players.local player dot potion. In fact, actually we'll make a local player variable at the top. Local player equals game.players.local player. And then in here we just say convert to HMS player dot potions, and in this case we're doing the cache potion, so cache boost time, which will be in seconds dot value, and then script dot parent dot text equals timer, like so. And before this, we're also going to do this exact same timer equals just above this, before this while wait here as well. And that's perfect. Now we can duplicate this script and put it in the points potion timer. And in here we'll say cache, and this will be points boost time, and that's perfect. Okay, now we need to go into our Leaderstats script, and before this while wait, I'm just going to do a massive gap. We're going to do the potions variables. So we'll say local, basically like we did with Leaderstats, local potion folder equals instance.new. This new instance will be a folder inside of the player. The name of this potion folder will be potions. And then we'll say local points boost active equals instance.new. And this will be a bool value. boolean inside of the potion folder. This points boost active dot name will be points boost active question mark, and points boost active dot value by default will be false. I will then copy these 3 lines of code and paste them down here, and this will be cache boost active. Then we'll have local cache boost active question mark, and that will be the exact same. Now just before this cache boost active, we'll have a local points boost time equals instance dot new. This will be an int value inside of the potion folder. Points boost time dot name will be points boost time, and its default value will be 0. Copy this points boost time and paste it again below the cache boost. This will be cache boost time, like so, with called cache boost time as well. Perfect. Now it's going to get even more complicated. We're going to make the data store. Now to do the data store, we're going to do it all in this script, but this is where it's going to get very complicated. So first we'll go to Home, Game Settings, Security, and enable Studio Access to API Services, and then hit Save. This will allow you to test the data store within Roblox Studio. Now above this player added, we're going to add a local data store service equals game : get service data store service. And then we'll say local ds equals data store service : get data store, and this will be your data store name. Data store name. Now you can call this whatever you want, just be wary that if you rename this in the future, you'll lose all your data. You can go back to old data by just changing the name back to what it was, but having different names is basically like having different save profiles. Once you publish a game with one data store name, you should ideally keep it at that name. Next we'll make our save function. In fact, we'll make that in a second, so we'll come back to the save function. What we want to do is just before this while wait one do, we need to say local data equals nil. This is in our player added, by the way. Local success, error message equals pcall, the function, and data equals ds : get async player.user id. Next we'll say if success and data, then points.value equals data1 and cache.value equals data2. Else we'll warn the error message. Now we'll make the save function. So above the player added, we're going to create the save function, which will be, to do that we'll say local function save data, and we're going to pass in the player. We'll say local table to save equals, and it'll be a table containing player.leaderstats.points.value with a semicolon, and player.leaderstats.cache.value with a semicolon. Now what we also want to do is save all these boosts. So we'll say player dot, in fact we can just say we also want to pass in points boost active dot value equals data 3, points boost time as well, points boost time dot value equals data 4, cache boost active dot value equals data 5, and cache boost time dot value equals data 6. Now of course the more potions you have, the more saves you're going to have. Now we also want to pass in player.potions.points boost active dot value. That needs to be capital. It needs to be spelt exactly like this. So it needs to be like that, dot value. There we go. And then this will be points boost time. Copy those two. Drop down this will be cache boost active and cache boost time. Like so, perfect. Now, sorry if you've been struggling to follow along. As I say, this is quite complicated. Now, underneath this table to save, we need to say local success and error message was pcall, and in here we'll say ds.setAsync. Make sure the capitals are exactly like mine, comma ds, comma player.userid, comma table to save, like so. We'll say if success, then print data has been saved, else print data has not been saved. Now, underneath our player added function, we're going to drop down and create a new game.players.player_removing function, connect function passing the player again. So this is called whenever a player leaves the game. In here we'll simply call the save data function and pass in the player. And then we'll also do a game : bind to close. So basically, if the server shuts down, function. So if the server shuts down, we'll call this function. We'll say for underscore comma player in I pairs, game.players : get children, do task.spawn save data comma player. And that is it. That is the data store. Now we need to actually apply the boost. In fact, that is a lie. We are not done yet. When we're loading data, we actually need to, after this if success and data, then after the end of that, we need to say if points boost active dot value is true, then we need to do our potion GUI again. So local potion GUI equals player : wait for child player GUI : wait for child potion GUI. We do have to wait for children here because the character is only just loading into the game. Wait for child points potion : clone, and then we'll say potion GUI dot parent equals player dot player GUI dot potion GUI dot potion view. And then we'll copy this if statement and do the exact same thing for if cache boost active is true, then we want to find the cache potion and do the same thing, put it in the potion view. Okay, perfect. That should now be it. Now we have to apply the actual potion. Now to basically apply it, I'm going to go to my +1 point button. So let me go to that screen GUI, +1 point. I'll just say if game.players.localplayer.potions points boost active ? Dot value is true, then I will just call this line again, and that adds another one. And then I'll do the exact same thing under the cache. So if game.players.localplayer.potions cache boost active ? Dot value is true, then, and we'll say game. I'll just call that line again and add one more cache. Now before we can test this, back into our Leaderstats, one more thing we need to do. In our while wait one do, we need to drop down and say if player dot potions points boost active ? Dot value is true, then if player dot potions points boost time dot value equals is less than or equal to 0, then we need to say player.potions points boost active dot value equals false, because we want to disable it, and then we'll set our time value, so player.potions points boost time dot value back to 0, and then we'll copy that if statement and do the exact same thing for cache boost. Cache, and cache. There we go. So we've done that, set our points boost value, our points boost time back to 0. We then need to say player.playerGUI.potionGUI.potionView .cache potion, no, is it cat? No, points potion points potion colon destroy, because we no longer want it there, and then we can copy that and paste that into the cache potion. So then this will be player.playerGUI.potionGUI.potionView.cache potion colon destroy. And now I believe we can test it. So if we hit test and play, hopefully we get no immediate errors in the output. We get 1 point and we get 1 cache for each click. Let's go to potions. You see our shop opens and closes. We can get 2 times points. Let's buy that. So this has all appeared, but we have got an error. Potion SP is not about. So I've spelt potions wrong. I've accidentally put a P on the end. So I'll open that and remove that P. Now if we hit test and play again, I'm not sure how this will work now that we've just broken it. So it's just done nothing. So you'll see we still get our points and we still get our cache. Let's just leave and rejoin to make sure our data store still works. So we've left, data has been saved, it did say down there. Let's rejoin. So our data hasn't loaded, so let's just check that, make sure everything's working correctly. Okay, so the reason my data store's not working is because I'm changing the value in a local script. You need to do this in a server script. So I'll just fix that now using a remote event. Okay, there we go. This should now work, hopefully. So let's click, so we get 31 points. This should get like 10 cache. Let's now hit stop. We should rejoin with 31 points and 10 cache. And we do, perfect. Now let's hit potions. We can close it. So let's purchase 2 times points. Would you like to buy 2 times points? Yes. We see it comes up 15 minutes, 14.58. So now if we hit this, we get 33, 35, 37. So now we're getting 2 times points. And we can do the same with 2 times cache as well. So you'll see we're getting 2 cache now as well with its own separate timer, which is awesome. Now if we hit stop and rejoin, you'll see that the timers, I think it was 14.40 and 14.50 or something like that. You should rejoin with those timers. Okay, so it's finding, so we've got a warning here, infinite yield on player GUI, kind of wait for child potion GUI. So player.playerGUI exists. Potion GUI, that's because potion GUI is all capitals. So what we need to do is under our leader stats, when we're doing this wait for child down here, we need to make sure this is potion GUI all caps, because that is how we've spelt it. It has to be spelt exact, otherwise we will have problems. So I need the potion GUI with GUI all capital letters, because as you can see my potion GUI has all capitals in the name. So let's close out of that, hit play. It should now load with our potions still saved. Bottom right. We'll give it a while, see what it says. So infinite yield possible on points potion. So it can't find points potion. Let's have a look. Colon wait for child points potion. So that is because we need to wait for child just before this. We need to wait for the potion view, because if you have a look under our potion GUI, we have the potion view, and it will be under there, the points potion. So, and once again, before the cache potion, colon wait for child potion view, and this should fix that. So let's hit test and play again. It's all about testing, making sure this all works. We should now load. So we've got another problem. Let's wait and find out what it is. Potion view, kind of wait for child points potion. So let's have a look. So player GUI, potion GUI, potion view, spelled correctly, and we don't actually have a points potion in there because we need to put a points potion in there. It's because we're doing the wrong thing in this wait for. I'm going to completely clear that wait for child on this local potion GUI. Sorry, that is my fault. I've just realised. Because we want to be getting it out of replicated storage. So we'll say equals, let's get a local replicated storage equals game colon get service replicated storage, and then we'll say local potion GUI equals replicated storage dot we want points potion colon clone, and do the exact same for this one, replicate storage dot cache potion colon clone. Okay, now if we test it, it should work. Sorry about that. That was my fault. We should load in and we should have 2 potions, which we do, with their timers as well. And our timers are ticking, and that's perfect. So you'll see we can still add our points and our cash. We're getting 2 times everything. I am now going to see what happens if we run out. So for example, for my 2 times, for the cash time, we'll do points time actually. I'm going to set the time with the points down to say 10. So you'll see we're about to run out, so we're getting times 2. We're about to run out. 2, 1, and that's gone, and we're getting 1 every click now. Now if we go back, so if we were to now hit stop and rejoin the game, we should only have that 1 potion that loads, and we do. We're still getting 2 times cash, but 1 times points. So let's figure out what happens now if we get, say, over an hour. Let's have a look. So we've got 14 minutes. So let's just keep going. Keep buying this as loads of times. If you don't want to keep on buying it loads and loads, you can just I'll show you how you can do it in a minute. So this time our 2 times points is on the right because we've bought it after the 2 times cash. That's why I recommend you have these potions so you can differentiate between the 2. But what I'm going to do is under my potions, I'm going to set my points boost time to anything more than an hour at first. So we'll go for 4,000 seconds, not that many seconds, 4,000. It's quite hard to change this. There we go, and now 1 hour 6 minutes. It is quite hard to change it like this because you are kind of just purely relying. So I'm just going to add a few more zeros. We've now got 110 hours, you know, loads of potion time. And that's basically it, everyone. That is the potion system. So I hope you found this helpful. If you did, please do leave a like and subscribe. I'm very sorry that this video was incredibly long. It's a very complicated system that we've just made. As you can see, there's lots of little bits and bobs, very complicated, but it is now, that is it, that is the updated version. I probably won't make another one of these, I don't really need to. It doesn't really need to get much more advanced than this. Sure, you can make it more optimized, but it doesn't need to be. So I hope you found this video helpful, everyone. If you did, please leave a like and subscribe. Thanks for watching, and goodbye.